Indianapolis, Monza, Spa, and Daytona. They're just a few of motorsport racing's holy grounds here on planet Earth, but one would be remiss to neglect another track from that list, the circuit to the south at Le Mans. And that's where you're going to find us today as we get set to bring you action from round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Up in the booth today, you'll find Asian Puhaka alongside yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Sean Crackers Ambrose has director's duties for today using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As the season gets rolling, some drivers, they're going to be in need of help, like Gernot Frisch, who finds himself in a bit of a hole after it rode Atlanta last week. Other drivers like Tomas Simon want to extend their American hot streaks overseas and keep those fireworks rolling. What better place to explore the next chapter in the season than on the public highways and connecting circuit here in the north of France? To get a better look at what Le Mans has to throw at these drivers, let's take a look at the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Le Mans. When you talk about legendary circuits, this is a place that stands among the most famous in the world. Part permanent road course, part temporary street circuit, it traipses through the countryside just south of the city where it gets its namesake. Its size matches its reputation as well, clocking it at 8.5 miles, which equates to roughly 13.5 kilometers. However, when you take into account that it's split by only 33 turns, the frighteningly fast nature of this circuit becomes clear. Most of the corners have been added over the century of history it's experienced, but many have become renowned and respected. The two turns at the opposite ends of the massively long Mulsanne Straight play equally important roles. Tertre Rouge requires a great exit in order to not lose massive amounts of time, while Mulsanne Corner takes bravery and precision in order to brake as late as possible and keep opponents from passing you on the way in. There's also hair-raising moments like the tricky entry to Indianapolis, or the close walls along the bridge section in the Porsche curves. To win here, drivers will need a very low downforce setup, a good sense of strategy, and heaps of bravery. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is the crown jewel of endurance racing, which many drivers dream of someday winning and many fans flock to witness in person. Once you've driven the track here on iRacing, it's easy to see why.
Just so much history here at Le Mans, and of course, that track guide. You just can't quite do this track justice on iRacing, but we're going to try today, and we're going to try to add to that already long history book. Ozzy, this track, it's just got so many different unique challenges today for the drivers.
Oh yeah, it's got things like straights, and then it's got more straights, and then after that it got straights. No, it actually has. It's the most unique track on the calendar that we have because of its nature, because it is not a traditional racetrack in a strict sense, and you can see the specifics there on your screen. 33 turns, 8.5 miles, 13.6 kilometers for those who use civilized world units, and you can just see long straights, long straights, long straights. Now, what does the Lotus 79 not do well? Long straights. So it's going to be definitely a unique challenge, a unique engineering challenge for these drivers, and a very, very spectacular place to race for everyone. And I think the people who are most excited about this race, Nick, they're going to be the spectators.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not that it's not fun for the drivers. It's just very challenging. It's almost a little bit annoying to try to go out there and try to set a dozen good laps here and competitively. And I mentioned a dozen laps as we take a look at the race details here. That is all we've got today for round 4 of 13. Just 12 laps around Le Mans. But like you mentioned, it's about 8.5 miles, 13.5 kilometers out there, 33 turns. So that will take, about a normal race distance, maybe 45 minutes today. Open setups and incident points. You don't always see too many incident points here, but you do see some slowdowns a lot of times, especially up on the highway section, up on the Mulsanne Straight. If you're cutting the track or maybe using a little bit too much runoff up there, I'm sure we'll see some of the drivers take advantage of that today.
Oh yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. It's one of these tracks where you have to use every single inch possible to try and eke out that advantage, especially if you happen to find yourself in a position where you do have to run somebody down, or you do try and make a gap. That's where you make it on those chicanes, and using every single millimeter is so important. But Then again, if you do it too much, you're going to get punished harshly. However, one pointer to make out of that one, Lotus 79 traditionally doesn't use that much curb. So that's going to be something that we'll maybe see less of in here than in, like, say, GD series or the iRacing LeMans series.
Yeah, those curbs will definitely help you out. And you mentioned the drivers. We do have a points championship that they're fighting for. And Ozzy, after Road Atlanta last week, we had some issues with, you see Gernot Friesche down there. He's down to 4th place, I see.
Yeah, he is, and that's really surprising, but it's still early goings in the season. But it is the lightning fast Hungarian, the bad butt from Budapest, Tamás Simon, who is leading the championship ahead of Chris Baumann in 2nd place, the Swiss driver trying to chase him down. Teemu Vaskilampi rounding out the top 3 ahead of the aforementioned multi-time champion Gernot Fritzsche. What can Der Lottekamp-Flieger, the Red Baron, do here at Le Mans? And Thomas Torp, bit of a surprise name, rounding out your top 5. But we also do have a team championship, I do believe.
Yes, and Candy Team Tyrrell is still on top of that, but only by 5 points over the Parmalat Racing Team and Team Essex Lotus. Don't count them out either, only 9 points back. It's even tighter for the Best of the Rest award back there. Warsteiner Arrows Racing Team with just a 1 point cushion. I'm not even sure you can call that a cushion at all, more like a piece of paper in between them and the McLaren guys. So, like you said, still early in the season, and still a lot to fight for as qualifying continues in the background. I'm not sure if they're even going to be able to have a second lap here with 3.5 minutes, or 3.5 minute lap times. I don't believe they're going to be able to in an 8-minute qualifying session.
They're gonna have to be mighty fast, but no, they're not gonna be able to make it. So that's gonna be it. Jamie Hall currently taking the lead, provisional pole position, and that's a 3:37.7. So this car has seen some changes over the course of last couple of seasons. New updates on the tires, making it a lot more like the Lotus 79 authentically was. It was accurate before, but now it's even more so. Custom-made tire. Antti Lepisto, we see the defending champion, him coming over the line, and that's a fast lap from Lepisto, I do believe. No, it's not. I was looking wrong. So 1.3 seconds behind Jamie Hall. But yeah, the world record for qualifying here is 3:34.192, courtesy of Matt Wood. So we're about 3 seconds off from there. But these are still some mighty flying laps.
They sure are. And for all of your updated timing and scoring, don't forget you can head on over to GSRC.tv. We'll have all the numbers and stats for you throughout the race over there to keep up to date with where your drivers are running. If your driver is Jamie Hall, you're not going to have to look far because he continues to lead this qualifying session. Both of these, or a couple more of these drivers, are trying to get closer and closer to that. But like you said, that is a pretty dominant lead he's got right now over Alex Milward and Gernot Friesche.
Yeah, and Jamie Hall has been traditionally fast in these low downforce, high-speed circuits. He's always been good at Monza, I do believe. I'm not sure if he's actually a fan of these tracks, but he should be because he's pretty fast in these. And we're watching Alex Milward right now. He's just currently in the pictures. We do not think he has the time to complete his second lap, but still he is doing pretty well so far. And actually, now that I'm looking at this time, it's gonna be tight. He might just make it, and he is still in the second place, mind you, 0.2 of a second behind Jamie Hall. And these guys have been teammates for a long time, and they still are. So let's see what the Williams boys can do, and hopefully better than in current day Formula One.
I notice, of course. I did notice as well that Thomas Simon is not racing today. So a pretty notable absence there. He will not be getting his third straight win. The only other winner this year was Gernot Friesche at the season opener at Watkins Glen. So this definitely opens the door for an opportunity for a third different winner this year. Jamie Hall, Alex Milward, they've been successful in the past. Certainly looking good here, but by the time they get to that Mulsanne straight, Ozzy, on lap 1, I don't know if it matters where you start. You could easily leapfrog with another driver up there.
Yeah, I think Hall and Milward are gonna work together at least to begin with. That's what we're gonna hopefully see, or hopefully for those guys see that they work together a little bit to try and make the pack a little bit smaller before they start to decide, okay, who's gonna win this race. As Milward comes over the line on his second lap and goes for the provisional pole, so 337.5, and here comes Juan Costa behind him with a 340.1. So at the dying seconds of the qualifying, Milward takes it from his countryman. And let's see, carry on my Milward son, I say.
He goes to the top of the board. And that is going to do it for qualifying. Alex Milward, he's going to be starting up there alongside Jamie Hall on row number 1. Behind them, it's going to be Gernot Fritzsche and Matt Wood, you mentioned, who has set the fastest lap here on iRacing. He's going to be starting in 4th. Chris Baumann, Freak Tenkata, Antti Lapista, and Teemu Vaskalampi file in behind them back through 8th place. Juan Mikasta and Martin Gronberg will round out your top 10.
Severi Seppä starting 11th. Alongside him will be Willi Schwabauer. Derek Rollwell starting 13th. Thomas Torp 14th. He is 15 points, looking for some more here. John Stevens 15th. Barry West 16th. Then it's Giddy Engström, Dylan Freckleton, Flavio Saturnino, Jean-Francois Bocou, and finally, last but not least, Mike Hasimas, who blew both of his qualifying laps, and as a result, this mighty fast New Yorker will have to make some overtakes in order to rise to the good point scoring positions, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to have to really fight up through the field. Maybe the slipstream here will make this a track where maybe he won't mind fighting up through the field nearly as much as he would at another place. But either way, it is going to be an uphill battle as these drivers get gridded up on the front straightaway. Waiting for everyone, it is Alex Milward and Jamie Hall that will lead them through the Dunlop curve, the Dunlop chicane, up, down through the banked S's. Lights are up, and they are away. Alex Milward with a good jump. A little bit squirrely for Jamie Hall. He can't get on the acceleration nearly as great. Gernot Fritzsche going to be closing in already on Milward as he had a lightning launch back from the second row. Chris Baumann as well with a great start. That outside lane really got going.
Yeah, it really did. Jamie Hall didn't go anywhere. He lost a lot of positions, falling all the way down to the mid-pack. Surely not the start he wanted, and he's going to have some his work cut out for him if he wants to get some more positions. Another guy who lost heavily in the start, Severi Seppä, he is all the way down to around key number 20. So a couple of guys screwing up their starts, but otherwise it looks clean and good so far.
Jamie Hall fell from second place all the way down to P8 on the grid. He's going to have to fight back up, though. They have joined the interstate, and they're up on the Mulsanne straightaway. Now, Chris Baumann is under fire for third place. This is Teemu Vaskalampi getting help from Matt Wood behind. They're going to go 3 wide into the first chicane.
Oh, this is careful, guys. Chris Baumann on the outside, Vaskalampi in the middle, Vaskalampi backing out wisely. Matt Wood doing the right thing. Ooh. Oh, and Baumann. Oh, Vaskalampi is getting hit, and there's a mayhem. There's a melee on the first chicane. Everybody's involved. Vaskalampi, he's upside down, and couple of other guys as well taking the shortcut through the chicane. Lot of damaged cars, and we're gonna jump to our replay.
This is just a disaster for some of these front runners. Vaskalampi got some when Baumann got off the gas a little bit early.
Yeah, he did, and I was really surprised by that, and so was Vaskalampi, who had nowhere to go.
Look at all the drivers that had to take to the access road to get back on the track. Incredible stuff. Now, Alex Milward, he's kept the lead through this whole thing, but it's Gernot Fritzsche who is continuing to close in. Only about half a second behind, and they've got a comfortable cushion now back to Matt Wood and Martin Gronberg.
Yeah, they do, and that starting mayhem really played out in the hands of Alex Milward and Gernot Fritzsche. Meanwhile, further behind them, Freak Tenkata, Jamie Hall battling it out. Jamie Hall receiving heavy damage to his front end, the second fastest qualifier, also wounded in the battles early on, and this is the last thing he wanted. And look at who's behind him. John Stevens, his Renault, it looks good on its home turf. He's flying past Jamie Hall and all the way to 6th place, so he's gained 9 places over the course of this opening half lap.
Yeah, this is not a track you want to have aero damage, and there is quite a bit on the front end of that number 8 machine for Jamie Hall. Costa is going to go by as well, and he's got a big gaggle behind him. Saturnino, Bauman, Torp, Rasmus, and just so many drivers back there. Kind of log jam.
Yeah, and Flavio Saturnino, he's always been marked in my mind as a driver who has the most loveliest Italian name ever. That is the most Italian name ever, Flavio Saturnino, and I always wish him good luck just because of that. But he is sadly gonna get overtaken by Chris Bauman at this moment in time. So Chris Bauman trying to gain back those lost places, and he's got a bit of a bent up front end. But other than that, Candy Turtle doesn't look too bad. So he might still have a chance as he's running down Jamie Hall. These guys who were part of the same starting incident. Oh, Bauman getting a little bit squirrely there. And they're gonna battle it out once again. However, not in the places they would like.
These low downforce cars going through turns that downforce would be a little bit helpful through. They make their way through the final couple of chicanes here. The 4 chicanes and back onto the front straightaway. Lap 1 is going to go to Alex Millward, who is far ahead of these guys.
Yeah, and then it's going to be Gernot Freiche trying to run him down. However, he's not as close as he would want. He's not going to get the draft from here. 1.5 seconds away, Matt Wood, another 2 seconds back from Gernot. And then it's Martin Granberg, the surprise name, who started 10th, is in the 4th place. Freak Tenkade, and I think we should do a top 10 rundown, just to give an update for the viewers as to who started from where and who's where right now, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Martin Granberg there. He's not really alone. He had Freak Tenkade just a little bit behind him in 5th place. Then you've got Jamie Hall back behind him with John Stevens, Juan Micosta. Flavio Saturnino is back there as well, who is about to get overtaken by Willie Schwabauer. Now, Saturnino started back in 19th place. This is an incredible run for him up through the field. But Mike Rasmussen up there in the mix as well. This is just, these guys keep switching positions on us every single turn, it seems.
Yeah, and looking live right now, that big pack here, you can see Chris Bauman, you see Willy Schwabauer, you see Flavio Saturnino, Thomas Torp, Giddy Engström, Dallin Freckleton. Well, Dallin is no longer in that pack, but all of those other guys I just mentioned, those guys, they are really in the mix. And this is going to be a battle that most likely goes on until the end of this race, unless there is another incident, which we don't hope. Oh, and just as I was saying, Thomas Torp hits Flavio Saturnino, and thankfully both of them got away with minor injuries. That one. And we're gonna see a replay here, and that's just another case of a driver braking a little bit too late to the chicane. I'm afraid Saturnino was a little bit slower than Thomas Torp expected, and you can just see here how Thomas Torp just filed back behind him and then just hit poor Flavio going into the corner.
And Giddy Engström got through both of them, split the difference, moves up 2 positions with that as well.
Yeah, I think he's not kidding around today.
Moves up into the 11th place position. Got a bit of a gap back to those drivers who are still going to be going at it here. Saturnino chased down by Torp, chased down by Dylan Freckleton. These straightaways, they will they vanish in a hurry here at Le Mans.
Yeah, they do. And this is really a question of, okay, what do you want to do here? Do you play the long game or do you play the short distance game? Do you want the position now, or do you make sure to play the long con and try and make sure that you're in the best position possible to come to the end of this event? So you're not going to be thinking, where are you at the end of this lap? You have to be thinking, where am I at the end of these 12 laps, at the end of this race? And one driver who certainly is a master of thinking about that is in fact the driver currently in 2nd place, Gernot Freiche. He is still pretty much behind Alex, but he's only 1.2 seconds behind anymore, so he's been catching up a little bit, and Alex is getting a bit loose at the final chicane, so, you know, Gernot has a chance to catch him up, but it's not going to happen yet. It's going to happen maybe in 3, 4, or 5 laps. I wouldn't expect Gernot to try and charge him down right now. However, one driver who is going to be charging in 5th place, Freak Tenkade.
Indeed, he is. Freak Tankata has been kind of tagged on the back end of Martin Gronberg for the last couple of laps, so the last couple of minutes, I should say. We've only run 2 full laps here. And just behind them, we had a change for position on the last lap. Juan Micosta got by John Stevens. We'll have to keep an eye on those two.
Yeah, definitely. Juan Micosta got that position from Stevens. Mind you, Costa started high. And behind him, we got Michael Simas, who is now in the 8th place and running down John Stevens also. So poor John just doesn't have the pace he needs at this moment in time, and he is going to be run down by the New Yorker pretty soon indeed. And Rasimas, with his overtake, is going to elevate himself to the 7th place as soon as he gets past John Stevens. Mind you, this is a driver who started last in this field. He started 21st. However, he can't quite get the pass done just yet, not on the straight line. The draft, once it breaks, he's gonna hit that wall of air and nothing he can do, but surely on the next straight, he has his opportunity.
Not too far back is Chris Bauman, who might have a little bit of rear end damage. I don't see any though. Kind of caused a little bit of a stack up on lap 1. But I think he got away cleanly, just lost some track position. We'll have to keep an eye on whether or not we know he's got the pace, he's just got to have the tenacity to get back up there with these two.
And side by side behind them, Dylan Freckleton and Flavio Saturnino, and they are both running down Thomas Torp, 12th, 13th, 14th, and Saturnino breaks very early, doesn't want to take any unnecessary risks, lets Dylan through, and now Dylan has a chance to catch up to Thomas Torp. So all of these guys are in the same mix, in the same melee. Severi Seppa looking for a chance, as is Derek Rolleveld and Barry West to catch up to them. So good battles here further back in your pack.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a phenomenal battle throughout this entire race. Already you're seeing side by side again. That's Barry West who's going to step out of line a little bit. See just how much these cars get sideways through the turns.
Oh, and that's a very bad exit from Severi Seppa, and he's going to be under attack from Derek and Barry West as well, taking a decent exit, being a little bit more careful than the two guys in front of him.
They are working the shorter Gulf straightaway here, headed down into Indianapolis.
And further ahead, Thomas Thorpe and Dylan Freckleton, and Freckleton is gonna take 12th, I believe, from Thomas Thorpe at this moment. So he's in a charge.
No, he is. Leads this pack for now, really sideways for Thomas Torp up on the curbs as he got out of there. Behind them, a little bit of a move for Derek Rolleveld, trying to get to the inside of Severi Seppa. He continues to struggle. You can see just how much time he lost there to Flavio Saturnino in front of him.
Yeah, and I think he was a little bit involved in that early incident. He doesn't look to have any damage, but he's just not finding his consistency quite yet. He's struggling just a little bit at the early point of this race, had to take the runoff. And I think it might be his hard. Oh yeah, he has definitely more downforce than the other guys. Look at him catching up in these Porsche curves. He's all over the back of Flavio right now, and just trying to look around the outside and going into karting as well. And Flavio's gonna lose it. Oh, he's back again, and great reactions from Severi. However, they're gonna get overtaken both by Derek Rolleveld and by Barry West here.
The Ford chicanes, they're gonna be side by side, a couple of rows. Rolleveld in front of Saturnino now. Thomas Torp been able to break away from all of this with Dylan Freckleton ahead of him. So Rolleveld back in 14th. We'll see if Severi Seppa can close in here. If he could get to the back and then have the slingshot on the Mulsanne straightaway, that would help him a great deal here to make up for that down.
Yeah, and here we are watching on board as well, and just see the battle pack. We're on board with Severi Seppa, Mr. Smith, who will, I wonder, find his Mrs. Smith in this race and climb his way back. However, he is very far right now, and you can see how fast his car is in those corners, but as soon as we come to the straight line, he is struggling a little bit, so he opted for a little bit of a higher downforce, which might not be the worst decision ever. However, it's in a battle pack like this, it doesn't help because you can't really get past in the corner step.
Big slides through Tetra Rouge, and look what that sets up here. A huge run from Severi Seppa with a great deal of slipstream behind Saturnino. Barry West now trying to do the same thing and follow him through into the hard break. into the chicane, make contact between Santronino and Barry West. That's going to allow Anti Lapisto to come up and contend for that position as well.
Yeah, defending champion catching them up. However, the defending champion is wounded. Look at the front of Antti Lepisto's car. You just can't help but wonder if I could hang my laundry up into the front wing that's pointing so far up, and still he's gonna try and go 3 wide here. Not quite able to make it though.
A bit of a gridlock on the highway. Santronino slips through. Got to jump up to 6th place, where we've got a 3-way battle between Mike Rasmus continuing to charge up. He's gotten around Chris Bauman and Juan Micosta, who's fallen back to 8th place.
Yeah, Juan Micosta got a slow down earlier on in this lap. And meanwhile, after the last lap, it was actually, Mike Rasimas was still leading Chris Bauman. However, Chris Bauman was the fastest man on the track last time by. And both of these guys, Rasimas and Bauman, seem to have a great race pace. They're doing 340s, 340.3 for Bauman last time around, 340.9 for Rasimas with no draft. Guys ahead of him, Granberg, Flick and Kate, both are doing 342s. So they are slowly but surely catching up to the 4th place battle here.
Even further ahead of them, the lead has been getting tighter, and Gernot Friesche has been closing in on Millward. He was down to, got it down to 0.3 of a second on the last straightaway for him.
Yeah, and this is where it really counts. Who can be faster in these final Porsche curves? Because here, at this moment in time, you don't really need straight line speed, not at this point. And it looks like Millward is able to open up the gap just a little bit. Gernot may be suffering from the dirty air. Mind you, these cars are running really low downforce, really high up setups. They're not gonna feel great in the corners. Gernot should be used to that. So should be Alex. It's nothing new for these guys. But once again, as the straight line opens, I'm gonna get a feeling that Gernot is not gonna let Alex run away with this one. Gernot 340.4, Alex 340.6, another 2/10 down on that gap. Further behind them, in 3rd place, Matt Wood 341 flat, Gromberg 341.6, Tenkate 341.6, and Rasimas 340.3. However, once again, the fastest man on the track, Chris Bauman 340.1.
Right on the nose for Bauman there. As he try to move up through the field, we jump back to him in that Candy Tyrrell car, leading the team standings, and they're going to need a little bit. He gets really sideways there.
Wow, and I believe that could be worth a replay if we can get one. I please get one, please get one. I want to see that one again, maybe even in slow motion. That was right on the edge, and here we go. And I'm not gonna talk over this. Enjoy the car control by Chris Bauman here. He's gonna come into the corner, and he comes to the exit. Here we go. Whew. That was right on the edge, and I can't even begin to tell you, as Chris Bauman, outside of your pictures, actually get past Mike Rasimas on I believe on the first chicane.
Yeah, and now Rasmus is going to be under fire from Juan Micosta behind him, because that kind of forced him to get off the gas quite a bit. So Costa's got that position. Can he sail up further and get by Bauman? Maybe 2 for 1 on the Mulsanne straightaway here. Can't get it in that chicane. Might be able to set him up as Bauman gets a little bit sideways again, trying to keep that car under control.
It's getting a bit squirrely under Bauman. He's heating up those tires, and even though they have plenty of time to cool down on these straights, it's still something he needs to mind and needs to start managing a little bit. Don't let it get that loose, because if you spend the power going sideways, you're not spending it going forward. It's all basically lost power. So here we go, and that's Juan Micosta right behind him, and Costa is not slow. He's not slow at all. He was sitting in 5th place, mind you, or 6th place earlier on for quite a long time. Then he just got 1 slowdown penalty, but he should have the pace to hang with these guys. Now, I sincerely hope they actually work together a little bit. You know, Bauman, Costa, and Rasimas, they find a mutual understanding, because they have the pace to catch up to the guys in front of them, Gromberg and Frick and Kade, and even Matt Wood, who is a little bit further ahead. he is alone, so he does not have the draft. However, he might be a little bit too far, but fourth place is still within grasp. And as we say with racing, anything can and usually will happen. So who knows? Might be for a podium.
Absolutely. Riding on board with Martin Gronberg, looking out the back, seeing Freak Tenkata, who has really stuck with him for quite a while. Just can't quite get around him, or he's content, just sitting there for now, playing the long game, maybe just being patient, putting together a solid top 5 run either way.
Yeah, and it's could be a little bit of both. I mean, if he was significantly faster than Gronberg, he would be content. He would be trying his best to get past and run away from him. Maybe you need to get the pass done into the Porsche curves, because that's where you're gonna make the difference by driving skill. You're not really gonna make a difference anywhere else but the first and the last sector in terms of like driving skill. Otherwise, there's just too much straight and there's just too much of handicap for you to try and make up in form of the draft, as Matt Wood in pin number 3 actually goes fastest last time around. So Matt Wood, he is starting to wake up, and he is one of the guys who is good in a long run, but he is sincerely hoping that Milward and Fritsch come together in short order and start fighting for that lead. Then Matt Wood might just have an outside chance of claiming more than just a podium here.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that out of the question, especially with how close Fritsch is getting more and more so every lap. He really loses them through the more technical turns here. Like you said, the Porsche curves. But he really reels him in on the straightaway, just hits that wall of air, can't get around him. A little bit of side-by-side for fourth place. Freak Tenkata trying again to get by Martin Gronberg. Might have a bit of an advantage through the chicanes as he gets off the gas a lot earlier than Gronberg. Gronberg's going to have the big advantage there. If they're not careful, though, we've been watching the three-way battle between Baumann, Costa, and Rasmus. They're about to catch these guys and make that a five-way battle.
Yeah, a five-way battle for fourth place. Oh, that would be quite a doozy. Now, a side note quickly from the lead, no need to go to it, but I was watching Fritsch and Milward, was watching with my trusty speedometer, and Fritsch was 7 km an hour faster on a straight than Milward, and mind you, he wasn't really getting any draft from 1.1 seconds away. So that explains why he is catching up on these straights so much, and it's also gonna make it very difficult for Milward to overtake should not get past him.
Certainly will. So Milward's really gonna want to keep him at bay. We'll jump to that if that gets close, or if Fritsch is gonna make a move. But right now he sits behind. Unlike Freak Tenkata, who's looking more and more antsy now that he's got rear view mirrors full of Chris Baumann.
And Chris Baumann, who wants desperately to get back up into leading positions. He was there, and then he braked a little bit early, and we are on board with the man who wants to get back into it. Chris Baumann, he has the pace, but can he find a way through? That's always a different question.
It has been an impressive run for Baumann to get back up here as Freak Tenkata getting so close. There you see Baumann's got a great look at this. Into Indianapolis, though. We'll see where the difference is made. Gronberg able to stretch out just a couple more feet. They battle hard behind them as well. Anami Costa and Mike Rasmus going at it for 7th as well.
Yeah, and those guys don't want to lose touch to the pack ahead of them now. So they desperately need to settle out who will lead them. Is it going to be Costa or is it going to be Rasimas? I think Rasimas has a bit of a better pace at this moment in time. He's going to look to the inside, nothing doing there, absolutely no chance. That's not an overtaking place. And he's just going to be hoping right now that Costa does have the speed in the Porsche curves to try and catch up to the pack ahead. The good thing for those guys is that Gronberg and Tenkata have been really a little bit slower than the guys behind them. So they shouldn't have the raw pace advantage. And as a result, they might still catch up to them even if they don't have to draft right now. But Rasimas right now, he's really close. He's looking to the inside into the fourth chicane, but nothing doing. Just, sending a little bit of a fake and then settling back and making Juanmi Costa know that, I am there and I will be here.
He got a really good run through the 4 chicanes after he got off the gas quicker than Costa did. Costa was trying to be a little bit defensive. Wasn't enough of a run to get around him, though. I didn't see as well that Alex Millward went purple. He's got the fastest lap.
He's walking up to the battle, and is also the first driver to go under 340. We have a 339.7 on the board, and that's just 2 seconds of our qualifying times. Gernot Fritsch trying to match up to that as we head to the second half of this race. So it has really gone by quickly, and Gernot suddenly doesn't have all the time in the world anymore. He just has very little time that's soon running out. Matt Wood as well going 339.8, so he's been getting faster and faster over the course of this race, and I can't help but wonder what would have happened. Okay, if cows had wheels, they would be milk trucks, so speculation can be a little bit useless sometimes, but can't help but wonder what would have happened if Matt would have gotten into a bit of a better start and would have gotten a little bit closer to the leading duo early on.
Yeah, Matt Wood started right behind Jamie Hall, who really spun the tires badly at the start. Jamie Hall himself fell all the way back to 8th place. He's now out of the race with some other issues, but yeah, that really did hurt Matt Wood. He was able to get through all the chaos and all the carnage on track, but it hurt him in the case of time. Meanwhile, behind him, a little bit of side-by-side, Chris Baumann stepped out of line, trying to get around Freak Tenkata, and a little bit of contact between the two through the chicane. Baumann just giving Tenkata a little bit of a touch, it looked like.
Yeah, and Tenkata was really slow to the second half. Thankfully, that was only the tiniest of contacts. It can still bend the wing, and here's gonna be Baumann with that bent up front wing now, getting past Freak Tenkata. But how is that gonna affect his straight line speed? It can be so frustrating, especially in a place like Le Mans, where straight line speed and fluid aerodynamics are the king. And behind them, Tenkate, Costa, Rasimas, all now in a single big battle pack. And look at this, making moves is Juanmi Costa.
Martin Gronberg is loving this. He's got a 1 second cushion now back to this battle for 5th place, but it's Chris Baumann leading a side-by-side battle between Costa and Tenkata. Maybe Rasmus wants to slip in there and stir things up as well. He's going to have to wait for now because Costa's got that position. He gets by Tenkata.
Yeah, that was a clean move, well done from Juanmi Costa.
Ooh, a little bit of a slide there. That allowed Mike Rasmus to get even closer to the back of the 13, who has put together such a solid run, but he's all of a sudden lost 2 spots. Definitely doesn't want to lose 3.
No, not at all, and he's going to be defending as much as he can at this point. And what he doesn't want to do here is lose the draft. Freak Tenkate, he's been promising in terms of qualifying speed in this season as well as in the earlier seasons, but he just hasn't been able to put the race pace together. He hasn't been able to put a clean race together, so he's been a bit inconsistent, and this is usually where we see him fall off, around halfway through the race, just making tiny errors and losing a bit of ground. He has the speed, but once he finds the consistency, he's gonna be even better. And speaking of guys who are even better, look who just went purple! Oh, Matt Wood, but also again.
On screen, you're still seeing, Juanmi Costa's got a slowdown penalty. Through the 4th chicane a little too aggressively. He's going to lose that position to both Freak Tenkata and Mike Rasmus.
Yeah, and Rasima's going to come through with a crossover on the outside, maybe into the first chicane. Let's see what he can do here. Is he going to try to run the outside of Turtle Rouge? No, he's not. That would be a little bit too brave, even by Mike Rasima standards. To try for a move here, but look at what this has done to them. Mike Rasimas and Freak Tenkate are both now a couple of seconds behind Gronberg and Baumann, so it's really split into 2. And Juanmi Costa, his second slowdown penalty of this race. You don't want to take those.
And look at Baumann. Somehow he has fought back and destroyed that 1 second cushion that Gronberg had. He's just flown right by him.
And here comes Mike Rasimas trying to do what his teammate just did, and it's a double Candy Tyrrell overtake. And I'll tell you what, brush your teeth well tonight, kids, because you don't want to get holes in them. Well, a lot of candy being offered here at Le Mans.
Certainly is. It's like a parade.
All we need is sticker tape.
And we're on the public roads as well. It's perfect. It's all set up for the fans here.
It is indeed too bad the fans have to stay home because, work situation.
Well, it's all right. Their homes are right next to the track. It's perfect.
That's true. That's true. So I didn't rain on your parade here.
Exactly.
Speaking of parades, we need someone to lead a parade, and that man in the lead currently is Alex Milward, who is still holding just 1 second over Gernot Fritsch, and doesn't look to be crumbling any moment soon. We'll keep you updated on that one. The closest battles, however, right now on track, well, is still Rasimas, Tenkate, and Juan Costa. What can they do in position 6, 7, and 8, Nick? And this has been quite a wonderful fight to follow. Chris Bauman, he looks to be running away. Martin Gromberg, he's behind him. Gromberg's been driving a low-key excellent race so far too, as the guys behind him have been too busy battling to realize that the speed is actually still in top 5.
Yeah, and we knew that Bauman had the pace. I mean, he was up into the podium position on lap number 1. Had a little bit of help at the start, but really muscled his way up there. Had a bit of an issue, fell back. He's fought back up through the field. And now he is in 4th place. Quite a ways behind Matt Wood. I'm not sure he's going to be able to make up any more positions unless something happens to the front runners.
And I'm still curious about the situation between our leaders, because they seem to be playing cat and mouse right now. Gernot's gaining a couple of tenths on lap 10. Alex answers back. Gernot and Alex, and one of them is bound to make a mistake at some point if it goes at his pace. And I'm afraid it might just be Alex. However, Tenkate spins. Tenkate spins around at the starting corner. And he's gonna spin right in front of poor, hapless, innocent Juan Costa. That was not what you want to see there. And once you see the replay, you're gonna see what happens here. Tenkate, who has been loose, and we talked about his issues on the midpoint of the race. He's just gonna get too sideways and can't save it. 2-foot magic save, he's gonna do a 360, and would have been a nice save, but Juan Costa really couldn't avoid him, and as a result of that, both the car pretty much damaged, and at least Frick and Kade now on the pit lane.
Really tough break for those two. They had such a good fight going. That's going to allow a couple of drivers we haven't talked about much today to enter the top 10. Willie Schwabauer, Kitty Engstrom, and Severi Seppa have moved up into the top 10.
Yeah,
you mentioned Ozzy, that this lead has just been looking very awkward. Milward, Fritsch, and Wood. It's gotten to the point where the gap between Fritsch and Wood is actually smaller between Milward and Fritsch.
Yeah, so it's been pretty much even gaps, and Matt Wood, he's been on a very, very solid pace. It's been noticed by someone else who's watching this. I'm just going to give a shout out to Mick Claridge, who's watching this race also. Hello, Mick. He used to be a commentator here on this channel. Still sometimes does it. And excellent racer. One of the best Lotus 49 racers iRacing has ever seen. And I want you to also notice and point the cameras perhaps to the front end of Juan Costa. Because at least from my perspective, that Lotus 79 does look to be missing maybe a piece or two. I don't think Colin Chapman quite intended it that way.
I'm a bit surprised he stayed on track. I guess that happened after the pit entry, so he probably didn't have a choice other than to take a tow.
Still goes halfway decent, though.
Yeah, surprisingly. I mean, definitely not on the pace, but
270 with no front, and he's just gonna, leave room for these guys, Schwabauer and Engstrom, gonna come side by side, and they're gonna notice the wounded car ahead of them, who I assume is gonna feel a lot like Ricardo Zonta at Spa in 2000.
And Engstrom's gonna like this. He might be able to use him as a pick. Side by side with Schwabauer. That is for what is right now 8th place. It's about to become 7th place when they get by Costa. Assuming they do get by cleanly. Schwabauer is going to keep that over Kitty Engstrom for now. Still side by side, though. Now they get back nose to tail.
Yeah, and those guys, Kitty and Willie Schwabauer, as they are now running down that small Rolex bridge and on towards Indianapolis. Willie Schwabauer, Kitty Engstrom, it's a great result for these guys. A top 10 for both of them is more than probably what we expected at the start of this event. But it is Le Mans, it is always a little bit chaotic. And as these guys battle on, they go on towards Arnage and are really close to each other. We once again note from outside the pictures, no need to go to it yet, that Alex and Gernot, they are within 1 second once more.
Yeah, we were worried about Fritzsche getting passed by Matt Wood, and that's out of the question at this point. Millward is now under fire from Fritzsche. If you're looking at the timing and scoring over on GSRC.TV like we are, you're probably just as confused as we are looking at these drivers go back and forth like this. Look at how close they are. There's the lap times.
Yeah, and here you can Alex Millward 338.7. He goes fast. He goes very fast. Unfortunately, Gernot Fritzsche 338.5. He goes even faster. Matt Wood isn't slow either. He's going with a 338.7, so he's matching Millward's lap times pretty much. And as a result of that, the gap right now between the two leaders, 1.3 seconds with 3 laps to go. Gernot, he has to find something on these last couple of laps. He's been good here with the light car. Does Alex have the setup to compete right to the end? He's getting a little bit wide, but so is Gernot. We expect that from the drivers here, and if they were a little bit closer, you know what? I'd put my money on Matt Wood in this battle if they were a little bit closer, because he looks the most planted right now.
Yeah, he's really on a mission, that's for sure. I just don't know if that mission's going to have enough time to be completed. Either way, he's fought up to the podium. See if he can get on any higher step. He's going to need a little bit of help. Alex Millward and Gernot Fritzsche for the lead. It is a 1 second gap, 2.5 laps left at LeMans.
And look at the pace of the top 3, Millward, Fritzsche, Wood, and behind them 14 seconds of clear air between Wood and Baumann, Rasimas, Kronberg, Schwabauer, Engström, Seppa, Stevens rounding out your top 10. But I mean, it's just been incredible pace from the top 3 guys. They've been just absolutely on a mission and showing the difference in the driving skill and the driving level and their experience between them and the rest of these guys. And right now you can just see it on display. And you would think that at Le Mans it's impossible to make gaps, that it's impossible to make any difference by driving. Well, you would be wrong. It is possible, absolutely possible to make a difference. It just comes down to very different things than usual. And now Gernot, he's enjoying the draft properly. He is within that 6/10 window. He's getting the full draft from Alex Millward. He's sucking into the back of the brake, and we still have 2.5 laps to go. And this right now, this promises to be a very interesting battle, Nick.
Here he is. All over again. Now it's going to be side by side. Gernot Fritzsche to the lead. Got a bit of a nose. Can't hold it for now. Alex Millward still going to hold on to it through Indianapolis. Now back down into the hard right-hander.
Can't get the power down.
Wow.
Gernot.
Yeah.
He, at the extra Arnage, you can see Gernot is leaving a little bit skidding. He doesn't have the mechanical grit that Alex Millward has on his car right now. However, Gernot has the straight line speed. Look at how he's catching up. That's due to the draft, yes, but not all of it. Gernot has managed to make his car a little bit faster. He's gonna lose ground once again here on the Porsche curves. But the thing is, he's trying out, I think. He's trying out. He's trying to see what will Alex do. And the thing is, if Gernot is ahead on the last lap as we come to these corners, good luck, Alex, finding a place to overtake.
Yeah, if he can get by, he's going to have to be really defensive so Millward doesn't get by him again through the Porsche curves. And now down through the Ford chicanes. 2 laps to go. Round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series from Le Mans. Millward with the lead for now, but with a more trimmed out wing, Gernot Fritzsche is coming.
So is Matt Wood, fastest once again last time around, going purple as the leaders are fighting. 39.1 for Alex, 38.7 for Gernot, 38.4 for Matt Wood. He was locking up the brakes a little bit heading into turn number 1. I was watching him early on. The smoke plumed all the way to our commentary booth. And at that moment, I was watching Matt and I saw a more determined, a more focused Matt Wood than I've seen in ages. And if you're new here on this series, And Wood is struggling.
He is
took
indeed.
a slowdown penalty. Yeah.
That is going to be a tough break for him. That might be his last opportunity unless something happened, or something happens to Fritzsche and Millward late in the race. He'll stay in third. He's got a big cushion over Chris Baumann and the rest of that battle. But back to the lead, Millward, through the first chicane, is going to hold off Fritzsche. Fritzsche just not close enough. He's about 7/10 back, just getting a little whiff of that air off the back end of the 5.
Yeah, the turbulent air that is soon turning into sweet, sweet draft. He's watching Alex the windbreaker do his work in front of him, and Gernot is just following in tow, braking nice and early, making sure he doesn't cock up the corners, making sure he doesn't do anything unnecessary here, using all of his experience from this car. I believe this man was driving this car from the moment it was released, it feels like. And I don't talk about iRacing release, I talk about the late 70s. But, you know, the Austrian, he's an absolute master, and here he comes once again into the Mulsanne corner. Not gonna do it here, however, staying very patient. He doesn't like his food deep fried. He prefers a slow cook. And that slow cooker is where Alex Millward right now is. Getting boiled at nice 100 degrees Celsius. Maybe even 80 degrees Celsius. And Gernot doesn't care if he has to hold him there for at least 6 hours, as long as the meat is tender. And here we go, Gernot to the race lead.
He's got it. But for how long? He's going to go defensive here. Trying to hang on to the inside of Alex Millward, able to do it through the Indianapolis. Back through Arnage. Still holds on to it, but you can see just how close Millward's able to get to him. Now Millward's going to need a little bit of the slipstream.
Yeah, but look at this. He's not catching up as quickly as he would want to the back of Gernot, and as a result, he's not going to get a chance here. And this is where he's really faster. He was braking a little bit later. This is where he's faster. He's going to have to be a brave soul to find a place to overtake on the Porsche curves. It's not going to happen unless Gernot makes a mistake. And once again, as we head towards the last lap, this is exactly the dream scenario for Gernot Fritzsche. If he's here next time by, I'm gonna say he's gonna win this race just by defending into the 4 chicanes. But we still have one full lap to go, and anything can happen.
Millward tries to wind it up and get a big launch over the curbs. Hard goes Fritzsche. Millward trying to close the gap, but he's just struggling to stay with him through there. Fritzsche goes with the fastest lap. One to go.
Yeah, one last lap to go. And 3:38 flat. That's exactly what he wants to do. And look at Millward. He's struggling that car. And Baumann goes 37.5. So he has the pace. Unfortunately, he's nowhere near any positions he can gain. Has the 4th place pretty much on lockdown though. Now, what I want to see is, can Millward get past here on the first straight or the second straight? Ideally, he wants to get past on the final of the straights, heading into the Mulsanne corner. Then he can maybe, just maybe, hold Gernot back. But here he goes. Gernot already taking the inside line. He doesn't want to get overtaken here, just trying to break the draft.
So if Fritzsche's got the speed, but Millward's got the slipstream. Are they going to cancel each other out through the first chicane? It's pretty much a stalemate between the two. Millward can't quite seem to find the pace and get up and around him. But he's certainly not letting him go either.
No, and Millward has just a touch of damage on his front wing, but so does Gernot. It's just a little bit bent up, you know. That comes from the curbs. That really easily comes with the Lotus 79s. It's not too much to worry about. And once again, they draft each other here on the straight line, both doing at excess of 300 km an hour. That's over 186 miles an hour for you watching over the pond or indeed over by the canal. So, you know, these guys are going mighty fast indeed. These cars seldom reach these kind of speeds, but Millward, he's gonna be looking to the inside. However, Gernot, the wily old fox, he's not gonna leave him anything open.
He needs to get through Mulsanne very nicely, very cleanly. Get a nice crisp exit here. He keeps it tight, a little bit sideways, but he'll stay in touch. Down the Gulf Straight now. It's again slipstream that Millward will be dealing with, trying to use that to his advantage. He's going to run out of track, I'm afraid. He's there, though. Going to try to give Gernot a taste of his own medicine here on the final opportunity.
Yeah, look to the outside. Whoa! Oh, Alex! Alex, I can't believe it!
He's got it. Millward takes it through Indianapolis. An incredible move. Now, can he hold it through Arnage? Yes, yes, Freech goes wide. Misses the quarter, and Millward's going to get... Wow. Alex Millward.
Hats off. Hats off. That was one of the bravest moves I've seen in a while. You just don't do that, not with these cars. And, you know, Gernot, he had tried to come back at him. He knew he had to try it, and he just screwed up his braking and made a mistake. So Alex Millward, he forced Gernot into a mistake, and now he just needs to hold it together through these final corners, Nick.
Just a couple of the Ford chicanes left for Alex Millward. Man, he had to fight for that one, and he put on one of the best moves that you could possibly have in this car. Round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series with an exclamation mark. It's going to go to Alex Millward, winning over Gernot Freech at Le Mans.
That Wood running out your top 3 in the same pictures. Then it's Chris Baumann and Micro Simas, 4th and 5th. All these two guys coming very closely home, but it is going to be just Baumann holding him off ahead of Grunberg and ahead of Severi Seppä, because Severi Seppä is now ahead of Kitty Engström and Willy Schwabauer. So Severi has gotten by both of these guys, but the battle between Kitty and Willy is still going on here. So all the way into the last corner, all the way into the last of 4 chicanes. However, it is going to be Kitty Engström holding him off and taking P number 8.
Incredible. The rest of the drivers on the lead lap come across the line. Rest of the top 10 and soon to be the top 15. What a race here at Le Mans. All of the drivers, they're going to take a breath. Alex Millward doing a couple of burnouts as well. We're going to step aside and take a breath of our own here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We've got all of our upcoming events sliding across your screen. Make sure to mark them down on your calendar. We'll be back with a full rundown of results and some driver interviews. Welcome back to the historic, Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans, home of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And that race was only 12 laps, but 12 laps of sheer excitement gear. Alex Millward taking the win over Gernot Fricha. And you'll see the rest of the results here on screen. It's Matt Wood coming home in third. He rounds out the podium with Chris Bauman and Mike Rasmus, his teammate, Candy Team Tyrrell. Going to have a solid showing there, fourth and fifth as well. Martin Gronberg, Severi Seppa, Kitty Engstrom, Willie Schwabauer rounding out your top 9. John Stevens, after starting 15th, he'll have a quiet race and move up into the top 10. Ozzy?
Yeah, and Thomas Torp, well, he was going for the Villa, but ended up Torp, he's 11th place. Derek Rollwell rounding out your Dirty Dozen. Barry West, 13th. Jean-Francois Bacou, 14th. Flavio Saturnino, last driver on the lead lap, finishing in 15th place after an interesting race. Juan Costa, 1 lap down and 10-year list of retirements. Dylan Freckleton, Freak, 10 Kade, Antti Lepistö, defending champion, Jamie Hall, as well as Teemu Vaskilampi. All of those guys listed as retired from this event. However, we had good news, we had bad news, we had great moves, and we had great battles. And now, Nick, I'm going to allow you to talk to the man who actually carried on his wayward ways and managed to win this race.
Certainly did. Alex Millward, I got to call you the mailman there, because you didn't just lick the stamp and send it. You pretty much bought the whole post office there on that late move. What were you thinking diving down in there? What was going through your brain as you were doing that? Did you think it was going to stick?
The only thing I was thinking, well, I had more downforce than the guys behind me. The lap before, Gernot had backed off, and I could see he was kind of throwing it and then braking earlier, so I thought, why not? But to be honest, was I thinking at that point? No, I think it was just all instinctual.
Well, I mean, it was beautifully done. It was just absolutely incredible here, especially in this car at this track, that kind of situation. You talked about the downforce, sir. You brought that up at least. I was wondering how much preparation went into getting a balance here. You seem to have a little bit more downforce than Gernot Fricha. Were you hoping to have a little bit more of a trimmed out car here to be a little bit faster on the straightaways, or what all went into that kind of design for you today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did the race on Thursday night, and I didn't have enough top speed when I was racing demo. But then I did raise the car a bit. That's all I did, raise it, and it gave me a few more clicks on the straights. That's all we needed.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly showed that today. The slipstream, though, was that still? I mean, that was still powerful for you enough to get back, or was that still your car? You think towards the end on the last lap?
Yeah, no, the slipstream allowed me to get side by side this race, actually. The race before the slipstream, I was still matching their top speed, so it's just not going to get anywhere. Even if you were a second a lap faster at this place, when you get stuck behind someone who's quicker on the straight, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and it was some pretty awesome stuff for you there, especially on the last lap. So congratulations there, of course, on that win. I'm sure it feels great to be back on the top step of the podium. You feeling good about the rest of the season? Alton Park next week?
Alton Park will be fun. That's my local track just down the road. Whether or not it'll be successful, I don't know. The racing there is super hard. Usually in a train in the pack, but we'll see what it feels like on this new tyre. I expect some, guys like Tamas and Teemo to be super fast there, so we'll see.
Will certainly be exciting. Hopefully you can be back talking to us. I'm not sure you're going to want the same setup there, but it'll be a fun one nonetheless. Thanks for stopping by today, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
That's your winner here in round 4 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. The driver who won the opening round, you've caught up with Ozzy, fell just a little bit short today. It's Gernot Fricha.
Yes, hello, Gernot. Nice to be here with you once again. Now, first of all, we talked with Alex. Now we get to talk with you. You know what I'm going to ask. Last lap at Indianapolis. That was great driving from you both. Did you expect him to try and pass there?
Yes, of course. I saw him in the mirror, so I knew he was really close, and I also was pretty sure that he would go for it. It came down to braking as late as possible. He ended up having the inside line and the exit of the next corner. I had the worst line, so basically that was it afterwards.
Yeah, locked up the brakes, and that's all she wrote. But you had the better straight line speed. Alex had the better cornering. Were you surprised that Alex went with a little bit more downforce and a little bit more cornering on his setup?
I had absolutely no idea before the race. I didn't do much practice this week, and I had no time. And also, this is not the best track for hot lapping, so I had no idea where I would end up pace-wise. So actually, was surprised to be able to compete for a podium.
Yeah, and second place from Le Mans, it has to count as a defensive victory in terms of the whole championship. And then we go to Oldham Park and Branch Hatch. How happy are you to get back into a real racetrack?
Sounds nice. Sounds much better for me, definitely.
Ja, and well, Gernot, auf Deutsch bitte.
Ja, ich hatte eigentlich überhaupt keine Erwartungen vor diesem Rennen. Insofern bin ich sehr zufrieden mit einem zweiten Platz. Yeah, thanks guys. Huge congrats to Alex for a great race, to Matt as well.
Thank you, Gernot, and good luck next week.
Thanks, Ossian. Bye-bye.
Bye. And next, we have Nick Schmeek talking to a man who wasn't on the podium, but certainly will have something to tell about his race. Nick?
Absolutely. Barry West is going to wind up down in 13th place. You had a strong run there, along with the rest of the guys that were kind of around you there. You had Derek Rolleveld, Thomas Torp, Flavio Santernino. Barry, talk about when you guys were all kind of log jammed together. You had 5 or 6 cars at a time. Looked like a kind of like a super speedway race over there for you. Barry, you got a copy?
You hear me?
Yep, we've got you.
Yeah, you have to have your wits about you completely. It was a bit hairy there. But I got to like this track over the week. People were moaning about it being too slippy, and I just decided to put a setup with wicker on the back and not go to light wing, because it's no fun with no wing. And you can do similar times, but you're just not fast in the right place. So I thought at least I'd be confident with the car. So kept it on the track, and I had a really good race earlier with John. So it's a pity I lost a drafting partner earlier on there. I don't know if you saw my start. I got terrible wheel spin and went back to last place on the start. So I'm quite pleased with 13th after an awful start I did. I had a few good little battles, and then I had no one to draft with, so I just had to keep your head down and do qualifying laps and try and stay in front of, I think it was Dylan who came off, and then Derek in front of us. But I think I was probably about the same pace as Derek, but just couldn't catch up to him. But yeah, it was a really good race. I quite enjoyed that one.
Do you think a more trimmed out wing, a little bit less downforce, would have been able to let you catch him a little bit there towards the end?
Yeah, I think I was, but I was fairly quick through Porsche curves and really quick through the last chicane. That's where I seemed to gain most of the time. As long as I was 1.6 seconds in front of the car behind, if they didn't have any wicker, I could stay in front. But I kept losing from the end of Mulsanne on until we got to the Porsche S's. But it was just enjoyable to drive with a bit of downforce. When with no downforce, it's just no fun to drive this car. I mean, you don't make one little mistake and you're off. So I just felt confident and kept on the track. That was all.
You excited for the UK and I region to host the next round up at Oulton Park?
Yeah, that's got to be one of the favourite tracks for this combo on iRacing. It's just amazing.
Well, hopefully it puts on a great show. I have no doubt that you guys will do that for us and ramp up the excitement. But hopefully you have a great run there, and thanks for stopping by today.
Yeah, we do our best. Cheers, Nick. Thanks.
That's Barry West rounding out down in 13th place today. And with him, we want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the 4th round of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, including all the drivers like him who put on the show for us today, as always. And an additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. And a big thanks to the crew in the booth today, Ozzy, Sean, and Dougie. Don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can head over to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can also help show your support by picking up some awesome GSRC merchandise. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And of course, you've already found our YouTube channel, so if you liked what you saw today and you want to see more, hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second. The PRL NASCAR Cup Series has some high-speed racing of their own to do, because tonight they're taking on the Brickyard at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. That'll be here live on GSRC. So stick around for that. And to see more of today's racing, like we mentioned, we're going to be staying in Europe, but heading up to Oulton Park for Round 5 next Sunday. Once again, that'll be at 12:30 p.m. Eastern here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us today, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.